So thank you everyone for joining today. My name is Jane Hauser. I am the Director of Marketing and Outreach at NESCA. And today we are here for the final installment of our three-part series of the Fall 2021 Professional Development Series for Educators. And Tabitha Monahan, who is a transition specialist and counselor at NESCA, will be introducing our other special guests from Job Corps.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me today in the third installment of our Fall Professional Development Series. We're going to try to do things a little bit differently today and have our feedback survey be part of the Zoom polling system. So if you could stay for a few moments after our presentation and fill that out, it would be greatly appreciated. If there's some sort of Zoom snafu and we can't get that to work via Zoom, it will be posted in the chat, the link, and it will also be sent in an email with the materials tomorrow. We'd greatly appreciate your feedback, and we'll also be asking if you take a few moments and share with us any other topics you would be interested in NESCA covering in future webinar and professional development opportunities. So going right in, when we think of post-secondary options, we typically think of the traditional college programs. For individuals with disabilities, day programs and day services may also come to mind. However, there are many other options that are worth having students and IEP teams explore. Alternatives to the traditional college route could include two-year colleges, certificate programs, learning a trade either through a private school, your local regional technical high school, or through the trades local union. There's also inclusive concurrent enrollment initiatives in Massachusetts. We may hear of that as the Macy's program, and so many more options to consider. And today we get to talk about my absolute favorite and hear from three admissions counselors at Job Corps. And I am pleased to introduce Amber, Yvonne, and Sean, who are joining us today from different regions across Massachusetts to tell us about the wonderful opportunities through Job Corps. Thank you all for joining us today.
Hello and good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to the wonderful opportunity that Job Corps has to offer for our young adults. We're all so appreciative for this time. Again, thank you. And we will be sharing all of our contact information at the end of this if there are any other additional questions that you may have. So Job Corps is, I'm sorry, we're having a federally funded program. So we service students 16 to 24. We are a tuition-free program for young adults who are income eligible. Completion times may vary. So Job Corps has a unique admissions process. We are rolling admissions. Currently, Job Corps is enrolling on a bi-weekly basis. So we have some students graduating, at various times in our program. Every Friday, typically, we have students completing our program and moving on into either the workforce, into college, into an advanced training program, into the military, or into a licensed apprenticeship. Our students really benefit from a smaller classroom setting that we offer at all of our Job Corps programs. So Job Corps was established in 1964 by the Economic Opportunity Act. And we fall under the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act of 2014. So we work closely with other WIOA funded programs to ensure that the students in this age range of 16 to 24 are hearing about all of the wonderful programs that we have to offer, and Job Corps is just one of many programs that are out there to provide post-secondary opportunities to our young adults who are leaving college. Leaving high school and not on that traditional route to college. Our Job Corps mission is to set highly motivated young people on a pathway to education and training for successful careers in the nation's fastest growing industries. So if you take a look at this map, it lists out all of the Job Corps centers across the country. Our region is the Northeast region up in this area. So the admissions staff within Massachusetts do recruit for the centers that are in this particular region. But our students are eligible to apply for advanced training programs throughout the country. So we may have a student who completes the automotive program at the Westover Job Corps Center, but then they apply and are accepted to the advanced automotive program out at the Clearfield Job Corps Center in Utah, and Job Corps will pay for the travel. Job Corps is unique in the sense that we do offer room and board, and we'll go over some of the, I like to call them amenities that Job Corps offers to our students. That is very similar to a college setting, just doesn't have that large cost associated with it. But this is meant to give you a snapshot of how many Job Corps centers are across the country. Our key services are career technical training. So we offer more than 100 career training programs across in-demand industries, and we'll go into in depth a little bit about what those industries are. We also have academic training, so high school equivalency programs to include high school diploma. We offer HiSET and GED in the state of Massachusetts. And some of our centers have collaboration partnerships with local community colleges. So I know that the Shriver Job Corps Center works very closely with Mount Wachusett Community College. We work closely with Quinsigamond Community College, located right here in Central Mass. So many centers do offer that combined partnership. Our other key service, which sets Job Corps apart, is our ability to work with students on their employability skills, their social skills, leadership and community service, and independent living skills. You know, not only are students earning industry recognized certifications and training, but we're working with students on those soft skills so they not only are obtaining employment, but they're able to maintain employment and really sort of climb that ladder to success. So Job Corps is step one in a long-term process of building a career. We talk to our students all the time about being a lifelong learner. So step one is starting off at Job Corps. Commitment and readiness are critical to success. So once a student completes a training program with us, the next step for them is either advancing their training at one of our advanced training programs or going off into the workforce or college. And then again, while they're there, they're earning additional certifications and workplace experience. Some of our students are enrolled in certified apprenticeships. And we're continuously helping them to grow throughout their time, even after Job Corps, and speaking about the importance of, again, being a lifelong learner and stacking those credentials, because stacking those credentials and certifications and workplace experiences increase the dollar amount that you can be making. Our career technical training is based on industry recognized standards, hands-on career training for in-demand industries, and again, partnerships with local employers and community colleges. Our students participate in a work-based learning program, so that is very similar to an internship, a co-op, which is very similar to what colleges offer. So lots of intern to hire, so that students are, obtaining resume building experiences, so that they are getting an idea of what they want to do or what they don't necessarily want to do. So this is a really important piece in the success of our students. The industry sectors that we work with and provide training for are advanced manufacturing, automotive and machine repair, construction, finance and business, healthcare. Our healthcare students this past year during the pandemic were on the front line working those pop-up clinics and the pop-up hospitals. Here in Worcester at the DCU Center, they essentially created a hospital space, and Job Corps students were ready and willing to fill the needs of those CMA positions and other critical medical positions that were needed. Homeland security, hospitality, information technology, renewable resources, and energy and transportation. So as I have discussed, Job Corps does offer advanced training. So for our students, they are able to complete a basic level training program and then go on to earn some additional stackable credentials at an advanced training program. So for our electrical wiring students, they will complete a pre-apprenticeship program with us, and then they are able to apply to programs such as the Advanced Electrical Wiring Program at the Oneonta Job Corps Center in New York, which offers overhead wiring, underground residential, smart meter reading. And again, those just assist in making our students that much more marketable when they go out into the workforce. Again, I can't reiterate this enough, our classroom settings are smaller than a typical college campus, and this is an opportunity for students who may come from a lower income background that may be afraid to take out student college loans. This is a tuition-free, no cost to them, so that when they complete our program and they are out in the workforce, they are able to, walk away not needing to start paying back student loans 6 months later. This is really important for our young people who I think, over the last, 2 years have really begun to take a more critical look at the financial obligation that college does impose on them when they complete our program. We provide wraparound services. So Job Corps centers offer medical and dental services. We have recreational facilities. We have gyms. We have workout rooms. We have, outdoor basketball courts. We have, ping pong tournaments. It's very similar to what college campuses offer. We have student government. We have leadership classes. We, some of our centers have, various partnerships with local YMCAs and YWCAs where our students are able to go and utilize their amenities as well. And our students, having leadership positions on our campuses really prepare our students for what it means to be a good community member when they leave our program. They are able to learn how to be constructive outside of the workday, which is critical. And again, maintaining that employment once they complete our program. Job Corps does a lot of community service-based activities. It's important that we are giving back to the community that gives to us all of the time. So our carpentry students, for example, may go out and work on a ramp at one of the local churches that may need some assistance. It may be a community resource agency that they need their walls repainted. So our painting students will go and paint their walls. Our culinary arts students may go out and do a special luncheon for the assisted living program that is close by. So we are constantly trying to ensure that we are out in our community and we're showing our students what it means to be a good member of the whatever community they belong to and how important that is. The unique thing that Job Corps does offer is a residential component. So I know that I've talked about that, but our students are able to sometimes get outside of, their communities and go away. And for someone who, maybe didn't think that college was in their horizon, this sort of gives them that little piece of independence to go away and kind of live on their own and become a little bit more independent, which is so critical when they leave our program. One of the great things about Job Corps that I think is the best thing that we offer is a post-separation placement support. So when our students graduate from our program and they are getting ready to go out into the world, Job Corps offers post-separation placement support for 1 year after they leave. So we work with them prior to separation on their resume, a reference list, their cover letter, how to send a thank you note after an interview, all of those things, really helping them to identify, maybe what some challenges they could potentially have to employment, whether that's housing or transportation. So we get all of those things settled in a row so that they really can be successful in a place of work. And as mentioned, the goal is for our students to leave into a career, an apprenticeship, post-secondary education, military, and some of our union partnership programs do offer some transitional funds. I can only speak of the transportation union program that's at the Shriver campus because I have worked there for a long time, but they have a program that they call Work Experience, and they will assist students in paying for their rent, for their first and last month's rent while they're working, trying to get themselves settled. So there is a lot of post-separation support that our students receive so that they can be successful when they leave our program. So again, our program, our students are prepared to enter the workforce. They are ready to be lifelong learners. They are ready to build stronger communities that they live in, and they really do understand the value of the education that they've received, which is, one of the things that I think for any of us that are on this call that do work on a Job Corps center, it is not certainly the most glamorous and high-paying job out there, but my cup is filled every day because we really get to see the success a student has when they separate from our program, which is amazing, and definitely something that we want to share with everyone. I don't think enough people know and really understand what our program is and what it does for our students that come through our program. For most, it really changes the trajectory of their life. So a few of the centers that are in the New England region are the Shriver Job Corps Center, which is up in Devens, Mass. The Westover Job Corps Center, which is in Chicopee. Northlands Job Corps, which is in Vermont. Loring Job Corps, which is in Maine. New Hampshire Job Corps, which is in Manchester, and then Grafton, which is just south of Worcester. And there are a few other Job Corps centers within this region, but these are just a few that we had made note of. So Job Corps is on social media. You know, we certainly encourage students and educators to check this out. It is a place where we're constantly posting success stories, and it's not just from this region, but it is from all over the country. You know, the Instagram page is very accurate and up to date. You know, centers are sending in on a weekly basis success stories, so everything is relevant. And definitely reachable to our young adult population. Job Corps is really, over the last, you know, I would say year and a half, 2 years, has sort of come to, you know, getting with the times and getting on, you know, Facebook, YouTube, Snapchat, Instagram, which has been really exciting for us. And the JobCorps.gov website is another wonderful resource. There are virtual tours of all of the campuses, not just in the New England region, but all over the country. So this is a really great tool as well. If you are an educator or a parent and you know a young person who may benefit from us, there is an online inquiry form that you can fill out. So when you go to the JobCorps.gov website, you can't miss it. It's a bright yellow box in the top right-hand corner that you can click on and fill out some information, and that will connect you with an admissions counselor who will be happy to answer any questions that you have. But this is another really great resource as well. Right. And I think that is it. Vicki, Yvonne, did I miss anything?
No, and I didn't see any questions in the box for you, Amber, but I did put my information. I know Vicki will put her information in the area she covers as well as you. You did great, yeah. Amber.
Thank you. And there was one question in the chat box. I went ahead and answered that. And the question was, who qualifies for Job Corps? Would a high school student qualify? So I put our age range of 16 to 24, low income, you know, put a couple examples of, you know, if they receive SNAP, if they're on free or reduced lunch, if they're in school, that would qualify them. And then of course, our young adults that are those with disabilities. So if there's any other, you know, questions, please feel free to ask. We'll answer them live, or you can put them in the chat box.
One question that I get asked a lot is, for students who turn 18, does their parents' income still count towards their eligibility?
So
I was going to say, go ahead, I'll take it. What we look at is if that parent still claims that young person on their taxes. If they are a young person with a disability, they have the option of being a family of one, which means then we can utilize that young person's income only. When they are 18, if they are in school, and they are on free or reduced lunch, we're still able to have them qualify with that. So really it depends upon, it's not so much the age, but the claiming of the, if the parent claims them on taxes. If any, you guys want to add anything to that, if I missed anything.
No, I think you covered it, Vicki.
Yep.
Did anyone happen to ask about residential versus non-residential? Did we cover that piece?
Amber did cover it, but we didn't have any questions specifically.
Any questions? Okay.
So the one thing that I didn't talk about is that I did mention the residential component, but Job Corps does offer at every center, there is a commuter ability. So students do have the ability to commute to and from campus. It would just need to be within a certain mile radius of the campus. Job Corps' attendance policy is very strict. Very different than a college or a high school setting, very similar to a workplace attendance expectation. So we would want to make sure that the student had reliable transportation to and from, and that they, would be a good candidate to be successful, because we don't want to set anyone up for failure when it comes to that.
Amber, we had a question from Beth. She asked, how long is the typical program? Oh, Vicki is answering,
Yeah.
depending upon
Vicki, you are on fire, girl.
Right.
So again, it does range from person to person, but on average, the average length of stay is between 8 months and 12 months. But students do have the ability to stay in Job Corps for a maximum of 2 years, working on an entry-level training program, and then an additional year option if they are in an advanced program. And so the age range is 16 to 24, but you can enroll today as a 24-year-old and your birthday is tomorrow and you turn 25. So that is also a unique part of Job Corps as well.
There a particular set of qualities that are the ideal Job Corps student or participant?
I mean, I think one of the biggest things that, that we want a student to have is a desire. Oftentimes we meet with a young person and, if they have any desire to better their future, they are going to be very successful in our program, but they have to want it. So oftentimes we'll have guidance counselors or mentors or parents or guardians or, a social worker say, this is the best place for them. They need to go, but the student isn't engaged in the application process. Like, that student isn't going to be successful on our campus. One thing that I also, we did not discuss, but I think is noteworthy, is that I feel like Job Corps, sometimes people have the wrong idea about what Job Corps is, and they think that it's where the bad kids go, or you have to be court ordered to go there. You cannot enroll in Job Corps if you have an open court case. You also, we also drug test. So students do have to be drug free. They can come into the program, and if they have a positive drug screen test, they have, roughly 35 to 40 days to work with our TAP counselor and get themselves clean. But we do drug test, and you need to be drug free to be in our program.
And Amber,
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. And that's based on federal regulations on what's legal, not state, correct?
Correct. Yep. Yep. So that is every Job Corps center across the country, regardless of what state law is.
Amber, there was a question, if a student is trying to obtain their GED, are they required to go full-time as well?
Yes. Yep. We are a full-time program. So they would be eligible to participate in our high school equivalency programs, but they would need to commit to Job Corps. We don't offer a a part-time enrollment status.
Would you be able to talk about a little bit about the weekly evaluations, self-evaluations that the instructors and that the participants do?
Yeah, so so as I mentioned in our presentation, we work with our students on employability skills. So on a weekly basis, our students are scored. We call it the Career Success Standard score. And the language varies on some centers, but it is essentially the same thing. We're working with students on those core independent living skills, employability skills. So our range is from 1 to 5. 5 meaning you are exceeding all expectations and going above and beyond. 1 means that you are not even at the plate, right? Not even making any effort. So on a weekly basis, our students are scored in the residence. So how are they doing with their independent living skills? Are they making their bed? Are they doing their room chores? Are they a good community member? Are they waking up on time, or do they need constant staff intervention in the morning to get them out of bed? Are they going to bed when it's lights out? And then again, in academics, they're evaluated on the work that they're putting in. Same in their trades. If they are off center doing an internship, that internship uses a form that Job Corps has provided to give them a score as well. So numerically, our students on a weekly basis have an idea of where their strengths are and where there are opportunities to improve upon themselves. Good question.
And do those points have anything to do with future tasks or privileges or work assignments?
Yeah, not necessarily work assignments, but there are privileges, for students who earn above, and it ranges at every center, but, for just as an example, if a student is earning above a 4.0, they may have extended curfew during the week. They may have an extended time where they can order takeout. There may be a special, recreation trip that's happening, and those students get first dibs on signing up for those. But in terms of, we don't punish students by assigning additional tasks. Students are, we provide them with incentives to do well. For example, at my center, and I know at other centers, they have a special luncheon once a month where they order out, or their culinary arts program will cook them a special meal, and they get an extended lunch period. So it really all depends center to center, but there are incentives that are in place so that students want to do well. They want to get a good score.
When you sign up for Job Corps, do you have to already know which program you want to be in?
So you have to have a rough idea. But when you are in our career preparation phase, so the first 4 weeks, you do labor market research, you do job shadow the trades on the center. But yeah, typically coming into the program, you would have like a rough idea, like, you know, I want to work in the medical industry. I am interested in working within the hard trades. So Yvonne, correct me if I'm wrong, but a center like Westover, they have carpentry, welding, plumbing. They have an HVAC program. So someone that came to one of my admissions counselors and said, I'm interested in this, you know, this list of trades, we would want to send their file to Westover because they would be able to explore the most hard trades. You know, especially if that student was like, I'm really interested in welding, you know, we would want to send them to that program. But students do have the ability to job shadow trades, and they do some labor market research on their own with the guidance of staff. But, you know, what jobs can you get with, you know, a certificate in welding? Or as a CNA or a CMA. Like, we want students to really be forward thinking when it comes to that. But yeah, they typically have an idea of what area they want to work in.
And what I think is so great, just to add on that, Amber, is that when a young person comes and they select their first, second, or third choice, maybe they're just guessing. Maybe they really don't have an idea of what they want to do, but because they get to shadow each one of those trades, they get to make an informative decision on what their medical day would look like as a medical profession, or as a carpenter, or as a welder. In regards to heights, maybe some students have a fear of heights and, you know, have no idea if I'm a welder that I may have to be up on a bridge. So it really gives them a great idea of the classroom and what they're going to really do and what their career is really going to be, and let them select that choice. So I think it's a great point.
Right.
And I just want to jump in because based on what they're saying, sometimes students will call a direct center and they will say, hey, you know, I'm interested in this particular trade. And I just want to clarify the areas that we cover, because I cover Middlesex, Essex, and Suffolk County. So those young people that live in those counties are recruited by the admissions staff that I supervise. Whereas with Amber, who covers Worcester, Bristol, Norfolk, Plymouth, Barnstable, Dukes, and Nantucket, that doesn't mean that those youth can't come to Shriver. They just need to go through her admissions team in order to sign up. And then we send that application, you know, to the center that they're interested in. As she was saying, if they're interested in the HVAC, we would sign a young person up that lives in my counties to go to Ms. Lomax's center, which is Westover. So a lot of times we get that cross reference. So that's why we work so very well together, because we make sure that we get the right young person to the right admissions counselor. It doesn't mean they can't go to that particular center. We just need to recruit them appropriately for the counties that we cover. And Ms. Lomax has the western half of Massachusetts. So I just wanted to throw that in there, because a lot of times students will call because it's Shriver, and Shriver has a program, an advanced program, TCU, they're interested in, but they live in Amber's territory. I just want to make sure that, you know, people understand to get to the right admissions counselor in order to go to the centers that they're interested in.
Great.
For individuals who received accommodations in high school, what documentation or process is available for them to get accommodations in the Job Corps program?
So Job Corps is not a public school, so we can't alter or update an IEP, but what we can do is honor whatever the last IEP that the student has or 504 plan. Prior to enrollment, they would provide that to the admissions counselor, and then there are other health related documents that are collected and sent to the wellness manager and disability coordinator, where that information is reviewed. And prior to enrollment, we have what's called a RAC meeting, so a reasonable accommodation meeting, so that students, so that we have the supports in place for when a student enrolls in our program. And we utilize them not just in an educational setting, but also on the dorms. You know, if a student is someone that needs, you know, a checklist, right, in the morning, you know, you make your bed, you complete your room chore, you brush your teeth, you know, help them set an alarm, or, you know, whatever the case may be, we do honor IEPs and 504 plans.
And going to the residents, do all participants who live on campus have roommates?
Yes.
Yes.
And for folks that are staying on campus, do they have the option to stay on the weekends, or do most people commute home?
Yep. So we are open 24/7, 365 days a year. So we have some students that are with us for the holidays, and we have some students that go home. And yep, we're open all the time. We're fully staffed 24/7. Again, weekends are very recreationally driven, so there are always activities. Every center has a rec calendar with various events. You know, Job Corps is very similar to, you know, a high school, college setting, and you know, we have proms once a year. We have graduations quarterly. Some of us do graduations monthly. Some of us do it quarterly. Some of us do it twice a year. But students get to put on a cap and gown and walk across the stage. So lots of activities planned, and we, you know, yes, a majority of the students on a Job Corps campus go home on the weekends, go home for the holidays, but we do have some that stay with us and share the holidays, which is nice.
So for people who are going home or are going they're towards the end of their program and they're going out to interviews, or they have appointments off campus, how does that work within the Job Corps structure?
So our career transition specialist, so Job Corps has 4 phases. So admissions, career preparation, career development. So that is when they're in their trade and academics if they need it. We also offer permit and driving lessons and driver's license. And then students move into that career transition phase where we have CTR, we have career transition coordinators and career transition specialists. So we case manage the students during that phase, and we, you know, will either put them on leave so that they can attend interviews, or we may transport them to an interview. But yeah, we assist in the coordination of all of that.
So, because I've done quite a few tours with Job Corps, I'm not sure if this is facility based or if this is a policy nationwide. Are the, like, for lack of a better phrase, PTO, how does that work for students?
So PTO is very similar to what an employer offers an employee, right? So, you know, you want an extended weekend because there is a wedding in your family, or it's, you know, your family, you're going on vacation with your family. So that's what you would utilize your PTO time for. We have leave that will cover medical appointments. So if a student has a physical back home with their primary care physician, and they're not seeing our center physician, they will be put out on medical leave. If students have interviews, we have a separate leave for those. We call it present for duty off center. If a student is working with a military recruiter, we put them on a leave for that. That doesn't eat into their PTO time. And the way that PTO works on every Job Corps center is that when a student enrolls, they are issued 3 PTO days. And then every subsequent 30 calendar days, they earn an additional PTO day. So in a year's time, that's, you know, almost 3 weeks. Did I do my math right? I'm not very good at math.
Sounds right. I thought I had another question, but it just escaped me. Is there any other questions to ask Job Corps folks while we still have them here? While I give us a few moments to see if I come up with my other question.
So just so that, you know, folks are aware, Job Corps is, you know, we're still working through our COVID, you know, protocols and procedures as things continuously change within our communities, and the you know, COVID rates rise and fall. Those things they do impact the Job Corps Center. So, you know, it is something that, like many other places, we are still trying to work through and deal with. And some of our on-center protocols and procedures have changed a little. But, you know, we are always, well, more than willing to come out into the community to speak to a group of students or to speak to guidance counselors, you know, and we're here. We want, you know, Job Corps is not the only option. It is one option of so many, and we just want to educate our young adults on what their options are. So we're always happy to work with anyone. And like Vicki was saying, you know, and I know that Yvonne would agree with this, like, we care so much about this program and have seen all of the wonderful things. I mean, this was my first job out of college, and I have, you know, 14 years in, and I don't see myself doing something different ever. And so it's a great program. I know that someone just asked if campuses were open for tours. So currently right now, within the last 3 weeks, Job Corps has received a lot of revisions to our COVID protocols. So I believe that within the next few weeks, we will get that green light to start back up for campus tours. But currently right now, I know Vicki, Yvonne, and myself, like, we're just doing a virtual tour until we get that green light from the Department of Labor, which we were provided like a small carrot a couple weeks ago. So we think it's coming, and we're so excited to open up our campuses again to the public, but we don't yet have that. So, but I know that we all do have access to like virtual campus tours. So we'd be happy to share those as well.
I believe Vicki is working on an answer for one of the questions in the chat, but I wasn't sure if someone else wanted to talk about it live while she does.
Should. Yes, for sure. Because a lot of people have this notion that Job Corps for troubled youth. So Tabitha, please go ahead and let them know what the question is. I'll keep typing.
Oh, thank you. So the concern is if there's any concerns with bullying between the diverse populations who are there, and maybe people who are less familiar with working with individuals with disabilities, and maybe people who are less familiar being in such an inclusive setting. I'm also going to add in a follow-up question to that of what is the procedure if there is any supposed bullying or misconduct between two participants?
So bullying is a part of our zero tolerance. There's, you know, there is an investigation. If a student were to come to a staff member and say, you know, I feel as though I'm being bullied or I'm witnessing someone being bullied, there is an investigation process that goes along with it. And if an individual is found guilty, they are terminated from our program. It's something that we don't tolerate. I will say that in the 14 years that I have worked in Job Corps, and I did my internship as a guidance counselor in a public school setting. The Job Corps community is extremely accepting, and our students come from various walks of life. You know, we have some students that come from a nuclear home and graduated from high school and tried a year of college out, and it didn't work out for them, and they've been in a dead-end job or just living on their parents' couch and decided to come to Job Corps. And we have some students that come to us from a homeless setting who are, you know, have lived on the streets and want something better. So Job Corps is really a melting pot of many different diverse backgrounds. And I really do feel as though our population of students are very accepting. And again, do we have students that are bullies? Yes, just like the public schools, just like a college campus, but it is something that we take very seriously. And but for the most part, our students are very accepting of one another, and I think, you know, inclusive to one another.
I agree. And just the note, I think that notion of what we call at risk, at promise, or troubled youth is just that stigma. I have 27 years in the program. So I started in 1994. And so I've seen where, you know, sometimes the students that come from the school system, because it just wasn't a good fit for them. So, you know, they get that label. And I don't really care for that label of troubled youth. It's just finding the right path for that particular young person. Some of us went straight to college after high school. It was great. Some went, you know, to college after high school and it wasn't for them. So it's just finding that right path for that young person. I think with Job Corps, we've survived over 55 plus years now. And so it lets us know that we're doing some things right. It may not be for everyone, and that's okay, but we just have to find the right path. And that's why we also partner with other agencies and organizations, because when we're doing our applications, that young person may not be the right fit for our program, but we have plenty of partners in our communities and areas that we can refer them over to. So if they're not a fit for Job Corps, we send them to say a youth build, you know, or some other organization. Maybe they don't really like the campus life and want to go back and forth every day, but live too far from the center. So I do want to, you know, let everyone know it has to be, as Yvonne and Amber said, it has to be their choice. It has to be something that they have that passion for. My goal is to be an electrician. My goal, Miss, is to be a carpenter or auto tech person. And then we show them those other opportunities like advanced training, where they can get those extra credentials. Or we show them our college program where we're partnered with our local community colleges, so they still have that opportunity to go to college. It's just that they don't think of it right now, but it could be for them down the line. So I just wanted to add that in there as well.
And the last thing I'd like to add is that right now, for our young people that are vaccinated, life has opened up. Things have opened up, leaves and, you know, off center and work-based learning. So if a young person applies while they are fully vaccinated, we just get a copy of that, or they bring a copy when they come on campus. And life is just a little bit easier for those young people.
Thank you for adding that in, because it's oh so important and part of our way of life right now. And it's amazing that we're all out of time already. However, I'm the host, so I'm going to add in my 2 more questions that I thought of. Out of the people that enroll in Job Corps, what percentage-ish complete their program?
So that is a great question. And one that I think is going to vary from center to center. I can tell you just from some data that was pulled, you know, this past year, that the Grafton Center had a 66% success rate. And that does have to do with our strict attendance policy and our strict behavior policy. So I would say that on average, that would probably be the percentage, and I don't want to speak for Yvonne or Vicky, but at least, you know, I've worked at Shriver. That is an on average, I think, for everyone, again, because our attendance policy and behavior policy is so strict. But of that 66%, we are placing, you know, between 90 and 94% of our students in meaningful careers. And that may be different for everyone. So, you know, I talk about this on, you know, when we're meeting with young people, and sometimes that means, you know, as a culinary arts student, that may mean starting off as a salad prep, right? Working at a restaurant. That may mean for some of our students who, while they were working or while they were attending Job Corps, they worked at a Chick-fil-A, right? And Chick-fil-A has said, you're a great worker, we want to hire you full time when you're done. And Chick-fil-A has their own little step ladder within their, you know, within their chain, that they're able to help students sort of climb that ladder. So it's different for everyone, but the students that are making it to the finish line are employable, are, you know, being successful when they leave us.
I would agree with, I was gonna say, I would agree with Amber on that. Every center has its own rate because we all have our own outcome measures. So you can look at something nationally for Job Corps, and online you may find 90% but each individual center is then, you know, hustling and making sure these young people are successful and, you know, pushing them to graduation, because we preach that in our admissions in the beginning. Your whole goal is graduation. There is no reason to come into Job Corps if you're not going to graduate.
Mm-hmm.
The goal is graduation, and we push that because we want to start with employment, our pathways, like you mentioned in the PowerPoint: employment, apprenticeship, military, college, and I know I'm missing the other one, or advanced training. What is that pathway? So we want that success rate. And of course, with COVID, you know, it kind of knocked everybody for a tumble because, you know, we didn't have students for a while. But every center, I'm sure, across the country is pushing for 90+%. You know, as we're starting to get amped up. That is what we would love to see across the board.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much for building in my second question right into your responses. And I want to thank Amber, Vicky, Yvonne, and Sean so much for joining us today. As I've said and will continue saying, Job Corps is one of my absolute favorite programs, and I love getting to let families, educators, and everyone in the community know about this amazing resource. And so I have put the link to our feedback in form in the chat. Please, everyone, take a few moments. It's super short to fill out the form, and any suggestions and thoughts of what you'd like to see for future presentations and webinars. We'd love to hear and be able to continue bringing this information. And tomorrow, you will be getting an email with the contact information of the different admissions directors we spoke to today and their catchment area for everyone who is interested in learning more. And that's all the time we have for today. Thank you again so much, everybody, and have a wonderful rest of your evening.
Thank you so much, everybody. Yes, thank you so much. Have a great night.
Have a good evening.
Bye.
Bye-bye.